Hello, welcome to the channel. Bob here, and today I'm going to try and bring you a siege, a full siege. We might be able to do it, maybe not. Depends on how many capitalists we get at the end. Essentially, sieges are a feature in the game where towns have got kind of virtue shrines in them, essentially, and the Kabbalists are the evil guys. They're the anti-virtues, or whatever you want to call them, and they siege towns that have got virtue shrines in them, essentially. And there's a whole thing to do with working out which Kabbalists are going to attack which cities and that kind of thing. It's all another one of those really interesting systems if you want to get into it. And I'll do it at some point, but at the moment I'm just running around doing any siege I find, essentially. Although I think what I'm looking for is a Dolus robe, a Dolus hood, I think, maybe, but I haven't got one yet. Yeah, and that's basically how it works. I kind of feel that at the moment there's a bit of a missed opportunity with sieges. I understand that players are very protective of their towns that they've spent money on, but it would be quite good because what happens is a siege is just a scene, essentially. You don't even need to really enter the siege to go into a town. You used to have to run through the siege to get to the town, but they've taken that out. But I think there's a bit of a missed opportunity where they're not letting you, where the siege doesn't actually move into the town or the city. That would be really good if you're actually, after a period of time, the siege moves into the city and the city gets invaded and you have to defend it. That would be really, really excellent. But I'm not quite sure how that would work. Obviously, you wouldn't. I'm assuming the Kabbalist's goal is to destroy the shrines, but I'm assuming that players wouldn't want shrines destroyed in their towns. So maybe they just run around and the town's not accessible unless you go and kill all the mobs in them. Otherwise, you'll get attacked. That kind of thing. That might be quite good. So a bit of a missed feature there. But for the moment, sieges are just instances where you get XP and you fight a boss at the end. Maybe get some equipment. So I'm going to run through and see if I can complete the whole thing. There's one Kabbalist I have trouble with, in the sense that I can't kill him at all. If 2 or 3 spawn at once, again, it's a bit of a wash. It's difficult for me to deal with 2. Although I have done it before. You can split them up, but that can be a lesson in frustration. It just takes ages, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm playing a Death Mage, essentially, or I'm calling him the Lich at the moment. It's basically kind of gearing my character more towards 2 or 3 different builds that I want to be able to use, depending on what I'm fighting. And the Death Mage is one of those. He's a very strong single target character, and essentially very good at keeping himself alive even when he's getting attacked by multiple mobs, which you'll see here. Before I decided what to do, I mucked around with a couple of builds, and I came into sieges, essentially, because they're for my level they're a good source of XP. So I wanted to do sieges as quickly and efficiently as possible, and Death seemed to give me that option. So I basically spent a lot of money and stuff on increasing my attunement and bumping up my intelligence, essentially. So that's what we've done, and the build kind of focuses around just keeping yourself alive through draining life, essentially. I love draining life. The Death Touch skill has got this little animation where he puts his hand up, and I think he's like touching the opponent. And I love that animation. I love running around just draining, casting Death Ray on a passing rabbit or something to gain some life. It's all good fun. It's very one-dimensional. It's a bit spammy. I do have a couple of area effect skills that are fairly powerful, but it's a bit spammy. What I enjoyed about it was tinkering with the deck to a point where it felt as efficient as I can do it at the moment, basically. I've got Death Touch and Death Ray stacked up here, but I've also got a couple of defensive skills and Tap Soul, which gives me focus for life, basically. And they come up once or twice a fight, and they cycle through quickly, which is quite good because it just means it keeps my defences up. The only way that this build works, basically, is through chaotic feedback. The primarily use of chaotic feedback is it refills your... So I've got 9 locked glyphs and 1 unlocked. If anyone wants me to do like a bit more of a a guide on the deck system, let me know. It's a bit like Magic the Gathering, which I really enjoy. But I've got one slot unlocked, which means that Celtic Feedback increases the rate that the slot is filled. So basically, I can just keep spamming 2. Whatever skill comes into 2, I can just keep spamming it, basically. Celtic Feedback does have a drawback. You take focus damage every few seconds. Whenever you use a glyph, you take focus damage, and you use reagents quicker. So that's one of the that's one of the drawbacks with it. It's also like it's by the seat of your pants kind of build as well, which I quite like, because your death magic does more damage, and you drain more life as you get lower in health. So I quite like that mechanic, and overall I'm really enjoying it. This is going to be my XP grinding build, basically, to then increase the skills in the death tree, but also start increasing skills in the other magic trees I want to get into as well. The only thing this doesn't work with is against undead. So considering this is my only real build at the moment, I'm avoiding undead, which is annoying because I like undead. But what I'm thinking of maybe doing, I was thinking of doing a fire deck. So use this deck for living beings, and then use fire for undead. But I've been thinking about, I'm wondering if maybe how fun has life got any healing blast, banish undead. I kind of wonder how much fun a life plus sun deck would be. I thought daylight does extra damage on undead. Yeah, I wonder how much fun a life plus some Phoenix, maybe not. A life sun deck might be quite fun for killing undead, but I'm not sure if I've got enough damage here actually. Maybe incorporating some of these skills into a fire deck might be the way to go. Anyway, that's how I'm doing it. I've got some buffs. I've got fire resistance. Death shield is really good. It steals a bit of life from mobs around you. We know what Celtic Feedback does. Corpus Explosion is like an area effect spell. Not as useful here because there's a lot of archers. And I spend a lot of my time just running around chasing archers, basically. Two things you will notice. You might hear a lot of key pressing. I do apologise for that, but it's just the way the deck works. You know, it's a very spammy deck. So, yeah. I'll try to minimise that as much as possible. Now, when I go through this, you might think this is overpowered. And it is very strong, I have to say. But I've seen fire mages do what I'm going to do a lot more efficiently. I'm just stacking up some buffs here. For Celtic Feedback, you have to keep that up. You've got to keep that up, otherwise you'll die, essentially. And then what I normally do is get a 5 stack of Meteor Shower. So yeah, so there's 3 catapults being manned by siege. What are they called? They're called siege mobs, siege something, siege engineers. So there's 3 locations. At each location, you need to kill 6 of the engineers, basically. I normally come to this one first. I hate that when they fizzle. That's really annoying. Okay, so we're off to a bad start. Nearly dead. Maybe I can show you how this deck is great. I was nearly dead there, but I just managed to keep myself alive. Kind of. Yeah. I normally kill the wizards first because fire just really hurts. It used to be archers I had more of a problem with, but yeah, I think these mobs are higher level than me. Or on a similar level. As you can see, the siege engineers are green now, although you do get some yellow ones with more hit points. And that's it really. Chuck in your area effects and then run around draining life. You have to kind of, there's a lot of running around because the main spammy skill is and engineers will keep spawning till you kill 6 basically. The spells also seem to cast quicker when you've got Celtic Feedback up, so because it's quite a slow cast otherwise, so I normally try and keep it refreshed before it runs out. Let's do this. Get these wizards. I'm really hoping for a successful siege here because I think it'd be really interesting just to show you the end, basically, and maybe the chance of a loot drop. But I'm loving this deck. As you see, it might seem a bit one-dimensional and spammy. It depends on what you're fighting. You know, you do get some situations where you've got to think a bit more. But generally it's about keeping up your Celtic feedback, and if they're archers, just chasing them around. I think I need to rework the archer AI because it's a bit naff, because you can basically keep one just running around permanently. Maybe they need some sort of short-term route that you can't break out of. Nothing. I mean, you know, getting CC'd by NPCs in an MMO or an RPG is really annoying. But maybe if it was just a short one, so they can get some distance. Maybe the next time you take damage, it wears off. It's just at the moment, if there's only one of them, you know, they just run around basically. Okay, so I think that I better just check down here, because sometimes a siege engineer gets trapped down here. I think we've killed 6 there. Okay, so the next one we want is over here. These buffs last quite a long time, so I shouldn't need to keep putting up these ones. Enlightenment I use for the intelligence. Yeah, basically what I did is I increased my death attunement and increased my intelligence, and that makes a huge difference to any mage deck. I don't think we'll probably stack these. Let's just refresh them. We'll stack a meteor shower. Okay. Let's drop that there. Then we'll go and get the mage. My armor is all cloth apart from a heavy chest. Basically, the heavy chest is to allow me to use some of the heavy defensive skills, heavy armor defensive skills, and also to use body slam, which I use for a bit of CC, and to basically what have we got here? Let's get rid of this low guy first. A bit of CC, and to close the gap when I'm snared, which I am at the moment, which is quite annoying. I might change it for intercept though. I mean. Or maybe use both. Body slam kind of does a bit of CC and it does a bit of damage, but your armor takes more damage for a short amount of time, and I don't like that. See, my 5 stack meteor shower is still going. Yes, I just noticed my feedback has worn off there. I should have put it back earlier. You need to be able to spam the skills as quickly as possible to keep yourself alive, essentially. Now I'm currently AL 88, I believe, 92 with the Shrine buff, and I'm not sure if anyone thinks this seems particularly OP what I'm doing at the moment. I could kind of do this to a certain extent with my polearm build, but not as safely. I think the thing with the Death Mage tree is it seems to be very. You need to go all in on any magic tree really for it to be as effective as this. But there are limitations. It only really works well with Celtic feedback, the way I'm doing it anyway. So you've got higher reagent use. Is that 6? Yeah, that's 6. Higher reagent use. Fighting undead is a problem, so I'm having to avoid those. I got killed by a few lowly undead the other day because I was fishing in a low level zone, and a few really low level undead came along, and I found myself in trouble. There's a lot of archers, so they just pinged me to death. I put down some area effects and stuff, but yeah, that was quite embarrassing actually. Like any good Death Mage, relying on draining health and tapping, and losing life for casting spells. I have managed to tap myself to death once, where I was fighting against something. I looked away from the screen and kept attacking. I looked back and the mob was dead, so I wasn't gaining any life, and I tapped myself to death. I should have taken more notice, I guess. But yeah, that was good fun. So now, when we kill the 6th siege engineer on this side, then this is the last catapult bit here. Was there another mage? There was, yeah. So when we kill the 6th one here, the Kabbalist will spawn. Kabbalist or Kabbalists. I'm hoping it's Kabbalist. what I might do is, if I can't, there's one particular one I can't kill because they've all got like these special auras, and one of them has got an aura where you take a huge amount of damage for using focus. So I think that one needs to be meteor showered and ring of fired, kited around, but I don't really have enough DPS in those trees to... Oh, I've got a yellow supply bundle. I don't really have enough DPS in those trees to kill a Kabbalist, I don't think. So let's do these buffs for the last time. I haven't got to worry about those anymore. Yeah, so there's one I can't kill particularly. If I get more than one, it's problematic. So I'm hoping for a clean sweep here, so I can show you a complete one. That'll be a lot of fun. Another change they made to the game recently, which I thought something wasn't working properly. Then I realised that what they've done is they've made some of the parts of the game compulsory multiplayer, whereas before you could run around and chasing bloody archers is such an annoyance. Whereas that's one. Whereas before you could run around in party or private all the time, so you never saw anyone. I think they wanted to... People were complaining about not seeing anyone, I think. So I think they wanted to... I should have killed this archer, this mage first, but it's only one. So yeah, they wanted to make the game feel more alive. So on the overworld map and things like sieges and stuff, and some other bits, they've made it so that it's compulsory multiplayer. So if there's someone else in the zone, you will see them rather than having your own instance, which I think is a good idea partly. But what I keep nearby players up when I go into sieges now, because there's 4 dead so far. Because I basically, I like to run through a siege quickly and then just move on. So if I go into a siege and there's someone in there, I don't want to interfere with what they're doing. They might want to play it singularly, so I normally kind of leave basically if there's someone already in a siege and leave it to them. I suppose you can go in and fancy teaming up and stuff, but I think you only get one lot of loot. Maybe, I mean, if you don't get one lot of loot, I think that'll be fine. I think what they maybe need to do is maybe that each player gets his own set of loot from a boss. That might be a way to do it. Yeah, but I'm not sure about compulsory, considering the game. Oh bugger! Let's loot these. So you have to install that message. Go back and have a look at the message. Oh god! Let's tap this wizard down first. Hopefully very quickly, so we can move on. I can kill Kabbalists, as I said, individual ones apart from one on my own, very regularly now. So where's he going? There he goes. But when other mobs interfere, sometimes the DPS is just too high. I'm looking out on my bar here for a curse, because as I said, each one has a curse. Let's loot him. Okay. So what I would normally then do is run under this tunnel here. Let's tap some newbies. There we go. Oh, so I would normally then run at the back, where there's an exit here if you want. And there is a mob. There is a Kabbalist. Corpus. I can't remember what his one is. One of them's really horrible, where they that's quite lucky. I'm able to stack a ring and a shower. Sometimes they reset, which is really annoying. So then basically my job is just to keep tapping. Put fireflies on him if I can. I like to stack fireflies if I can, but that's not looking likely. So pretty much all of the Kabbalists apart from one I can face tank. Death Mage face tank. I love it. It's just like, makes you feel like a badass. Sometimes they seem to just reset for no reason, which is a bit annoying. This fight's very easy because I managed to 5-stack my 2 area effects. So the DPS is high and I can just keep myself alive. What is his curse? Ah, this is where he wrecks your armour. That's really annoying. So I think we've got a successful siege. I'm really happy that I was able to show you a successful one. I hope the key clicking wasn't too much of a problem. I will stick my dots on just in case something happens. But I think we're safe here. I've got a couple of videos I'd like to do. I've got a new series that I'd like to do, where I basically stand at the. Let's see what we got for a drop. Ugh. The gems are quite good, I guess, for gems are quite good, I guess, for crafting, but I'm not using them yet. So yeah, so that's it. We just killed Corpus in a siege, nice and easy. It's probably wrecked my armor, but there you go. Yeah, I was happy. I was glad that I was able to show you that, actually, guys. Just a run through and showing the death of a Kabbalist as well. I'm really enjoying playing a Death Mage, although it is very one-dimensional, and I can't kill undead, which is problematic. So I'm having to avoid those. But that's a price you pay, I guess, for being fairly powerful as a Death Mage. But as I said, I mean, if you want to try it, bear in mind that I have had to invest a lot of. Okay, I've had to invest a lot of that. Let's put my. So with Death Shield, my Death Attunement is 224. So I've had to invest a lot in equipment to get it to that point, to make it as viable as possible, basically. I'm going to bring up some of my low skills. So certainly some of the skeleton I can bring up to increase my attunement. I did GM Death Touch. I probably GM Death Ray as well. I've got 80 in Death Magic Specialisation, which gives some skills an extra use. Plus, I think it increases your attunement, as you can see. But it costs so much. Death Field I can easily get to 80 for some more attunement as well. And then the Lich. The Lich will be an interesting one, because I wonder if to get the Lich I need to fight undead, which will be a problem for this build. My fire's not too bad, so I'm kind of thinking about possibly working on that. But there you go. So I've got some ideas for videos coming up. One of them is I want to start two series. One of them's a crafting series. I've got a particular artifact that is in desperate need of repair. If anyone can offer to repair it for me at the moment, that'd be great. But I think I need blacksmithing to repair it, so I'm going to start a series where I try and get into crafting. Now, as you know, I have criticised crafting in the past for being far too overly complex, obtuse, and just unfriendly. And I think it still is, but I'd like to try and get into it. So what I was going to do is a series of videos where, as a complete newbie, as someone who hasn't done any trade skills yet really, just a series of me trying to trade skill and what I need to do and how easy it is, where things could maybe be improved to make it more user friendly, that kind of thing. And the other series I wanted to do was a series where I start off standing outside Britain and we run in a random direction. It's like, I'm thinking of calling it an unexpected adventure, like a Lord of the Rings Hobbit type reference there, where we run in a direction, and when I find a particular, I'm not sure what I'm going to do now. I'm probably going to go to Ulfheim and do some. Actually, no, maybe I should go and start trying. I'm not to recording another video today, so I'll start the trade skills one at another point. Ulfheim is a zone that I'm enjoying at the moment as well. There are some undead here, but I do avoid them. There's not many. It's mostly animals and stuff, so I guess for me it's quite good because my trade XP, I guess my not trade XP, my, what would you call it, my crafting XP is quite low, so I can skin animals in here for XP, I think, which is quite good. There's a mob I do want to show you that's quite interesting. You just see me kill like nearly a 9k hit point, 9k hit point Kabbalist, but there are some mobs in here that Reapers are in here, and occasionally if I get caught on the hop, I do get killed, which is a bit annoying, but they've got some nasty effects, that seems. I think they seem to put some horrible dots on you. But what I'm going to do is I'm see if I can find one for you. It's a shame that it's dark because you probably won't get the full glory of a Reaper. But let's see if I can find one. They're quite easy to point to. They're quite easy to see actually. I'm sure there's normally one around here. Maybe not. At first, I thought that they spawned where this mist was, but that doesn't seem to be. That doesn't seem to be the case. Leave me alone, Mr. Wolf. I don't want to drain the life out of you, but I will if I have to. Oh, here we go. Here's one. So here's a Reaper. 3k hit points. I remember the Reapers in Ultron 9. One of my favourite mobs, because whenever you came across one, no matter what level you were, well, maybe if you were super duper, I don't know, but they were horrible to fight. So one of the problems I had with these guys is they root you. So what I do is just close the gap so I'm right face to face, and then we just spam again. Let's get some Fireflies on them. Fireflies is a good spell for bosses because it means they take more damage from critical hits, I believe. So these guys stun you and root you, and one of the times I died, he rooted me far enough away that I couldn't death touch him, so that didn't go very well. The stuns as well, smoke. I think we're okay. I was going to cast Ring of Fire, but as long as I'm prepared, these mobs are fairly easy. There we go. What have we got? Not a huge amount. It's funny, you don't get much wood from them. The siege engineers are great for farming wood. You get a load of wood from them. I'm not sure why a huge tree would give you less wood, but there you go. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I was really glad that I could get a complete siege to show you. And as I said, I've got a couple of other series that I'm planning. Yeah, the other one is like the Unexpected Journey, Unexpected Adventure or something like that. Where from Britain, we take a direction and we wander until we find a scene that we like the sound of, and then we'll just randomly go in there without knowing what to expect and see what mischief we can get into. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.